I'm Asia, and you're listening to a product of Rethinking Climate. So, as many of you have been following us, we try to open conversations about complex and overlooked climate issues. We make them more personal, and we investigate how the climate crisis is spoken about. So today we're here with Umberto Bozzolini. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Asia.
So today we're going to talk about social media and participatory culture, a little bit about how social media handles the climate conversation. So, Umberto, you are a motivated communication specialist. You have over 10 years of experience in traditional and innovative online platforms, effective content creation, audience engagement techniques, and you were also my climate reality leader mentor. I was trained in July 2020. When were you trained, Umberto?
2019 in Minneapolis, live when it was still possible. Yeah. And then I decided to join the first ever online climate reality training. So it's been an amazing experience, and it was the first time for me as a mentor, and a really great experience. So thank you for being my, how can I call you? Mentee.
Mentee, exactly. Yes. So for those who don't know, the Climate Reality Project is created by former U.S. Vice President Al Gore to train climate leaders around the world. Because of the pandemic, for the first time, it happened online. So that's how I met you, actually. Last time before we spoke and recorded this episode, we talked about Habermas' definition of public sphere. And he has 3 points. The public sphere forms the public opinion, all citizens have access, and society is engaged in critical public debate. Social media does all these 3 points. So how do you think, in a good or bad way, social media actually engages in the climate conversation and helps this?
Yeah, I think social media can be a very powerful tool to, spread your message and get people involved. Anything online usually happens 5 times faster than offline. It gets also, as any other new media, a lot of criticism, and we should probably talk about it, because usually the most criticism come from activists themselves. There's this new definition, slacktivism. It's a portmanteau of 2 words, slacker and activism. So that kind of, it's a negative word describing that kind of activism happening online with little or no effort by the activist himself. And it's usually related to social media activism, to digital activism in general, but specifically to social media activism. And I don't think that's always true. We could talk a lot about it, and I hope we will during this interview. But if used well, it can be a powerful tool in a positive way, I think.
So which are some examples of a good way social media does this?
Well, for instance, as I said, everything happens very fast online, so it's very easy to get results. I'm thinking about, for example, Fridays for Future. Greta first strike was, I think, 2 years ago. In this very short amount of time, thanks also to social media and digital activism in general, we have now, I think, over 200 National Fridays for Future accounts with over 20 million activists joining daily, the conversation. So I don't think without internet, without social media, this could happen so fast and so effectively. some examples of slacktivism, which I would call simply digital activism, can be, for instance, online petitions or donations, digital strikes. In this very moment, digital strikes are the only kind of strikes possible. So thank you. We have social media and the internet to continue the conversation with many creative ways. I joined the first Fridays for Future digital strike ever in April, and they came up with this beautiful idea. They instructed us to share some hashtags. So hashtags are tags used to collect and spread something about a specific topic online. They instructed us to take a picture of ourselves with a sign with these hashtags, and then share the picture and the hashtags as well, to create very fast awareness online about the strike. And then something I found very creative and cool. We had to geotag through a geotagging platform ourselves with an avatar in front of Palazzo Chigi, which is Italian government headquarters. And basically, I asked myself, what's the difference between, I joined some other strikes, real strikes, but in terms of communication and impact, what's really the difference, And then, as I said, petitions. They say, oh, it's so easy to just share a petition or just sign a petition and then go on with your business. But why not? That you if you did the same thing offline, again, what's the difference? You are participating, you are spreading the message. Same thing with the nations, and so on.
So two limitations that we know about social media are that you cannot have too many characters, so the content information is quite short. But then the second one is the bridge between me sharing content as a user, but then actually in my everyday life, when I'm offline, applying my awareness that I've acquired or shared. So statistics have shown that if you share the word sustainability or environment, the majority of Italians believe that the term reflects only the actual nature outside, not something that has to do with humans. So in this sense, how do you think social media helps bridge communication needs, so the actual language use? And do you think that it's effective in sharing actual information or only awareness?
Oh, well, it's a tricky question, because I don't think it's, about just online communication and social media. It's about communication itself. We very often think to spread effectively a message, we have to use a lot of words and the right definitions. Unfortunately, words are not always the best signifier to carry a meaning, especially a lot of words. For instance, research shown that pictures are 25 times more effective than words to convey a message. I delivered a workshop about slacktivism and online communication a month ago, and I remember talking about famous, iconic Rosa Parks picture sitting on a bus. I don't think everybody knows everything about Rosa Parks' involvement in the civil rights movement, her speeches, her actions before and after the picture was taken. But just with one picture, a whole world, a whole topic suddenly pop up into your mind. For instance, do you know, after this interview will be finished, how much people will remember about the interview. Half within the first 10 minutes, 25% the day after, and just 10% in 1 week. So communication and memory works in mysterious way. And Sir Winston Churchill talked about repetition as a tremendous whack. If you have a really important point to make, repeat and repeat and repeat over and over again. We always complain about being exposed to the same messages online over and over again, but if you have to make a point, that's the way, you know, sometimes. And just a few words, just a simple, I don't want to be, you know, superficial, but sometimes I don't like slogans, but sometimes they can help, you know, a very simple concept over and over again.
Which is something that with climate change has been happening quite a bit. So the constant repetition of the same message over and over again. And that is something that as Rethinking Climate we're trying to do is, although this message has been repeated, we do understand that it's quite a little bit superficial sometimes, although it's needed. I do agree with you, although it's needed. And it's constantly the same terms that people absorb without really understanding the actual definition or the actual consistency of what does it entitle, you know, completely, and which factors does it take in place. So my next question could be if there are any tips that you suggest by using social media by which we keep repeating this message, but we make it more efficient, maybe change terms. I'm not sure. You tell me.
Well, some tips. I think, first of all, always try to, you know, choose your own trusted sources. So carefully choose where you get your information from, and then probably not doing everything by yourself, you know, to get together, to even to get the right kind of material. It's always good to not go, you know, solo. So to get together, get help, and it's always good if you have a you know, a message to share, and don't go mad about the right words, the right. It's already there, and just sharing your message, be true to yourself. It's what's most important when you have to say something. So don't get mad about saying everything and saying it perfectly, because I don't think it's about that. It's about staying true to yourself and believe in what you're saying. That's the most important thing.
So, but when it comes to action in our everyday life, what do you think it's needed to bridge the gap, which would decrease is activism in the sense? So we bridge the gap between acting in your everyday life and using social media to spread this awareness. Make a parenthesis. So in a previous interview, it was said that individual action is much harder and collective action is more effective. But I've noticed, based on questions I've asked our speakers like yourself and others, that collective action is considered a weak point. We need more work to be done in that sense. So, which sort of goes back to my question: how would you bridge then this gap between social media and daily action?
Well, first of all, I don't really believe in you know, virtual reality as opposed to real reality. It's the same thing. It's two different parts of our same reality. So what's happening online doesn't stay online. It affects what's happening offline and vice versa, you know. So just because it's now easier and faster to perform an action online, that doesn't mean it's not worth it, and it doesn't affect what's been happening in the real world, So we sign petitions and make donations and just like posts to see something happening offline, and I think it's happening something offline through that kind of action. The money you spend in a donation goes somewhere, which translates in some kind of, I hope, action offline. You share a petition because you want to get to decision makers. So hopefully something is happening. Then, of course, you should stay again true to yourself in your everyday life. It's too easy to just like a post and then cut off half Amazon trees, but of course, but I don't think one thing exclude the other. They goes together in my opinion.
What about the anxiety that it's felt also by social media? So what about those who are not comfortable using social media, but since it's such a powerful tool, what advice would you give them?
Well, a lot of people is not very comfortable using social media, and that's okay. I mean, you don't have to force anybody to do anything. It's just a tool as any other tool to get your personal results, to achieve your goals. But if you don't feel like it, just go your way. You don't have to force anybody to it's okay to be to feel anxious about social media if you don't feel like but just keep an open mind because you can be surprised. Just that.
So social media is not for everybody. That's fair. You can still act offline. That's something I wish to underline. You can still sign petitions via social media. That's an example. However, social media is still used as a way to feel less guilty for some. I put like on a post. I share it with my friends. Oh, that's how I'm an environmentalist. And then I've had in a previous interview someone say environmentalism, like being told as an environmentalist, it's not a thing. You're just saving a planet that is yours, and I really like that. So my question to you is, if you would have to think of a way we use social media in the future that it's not used yet now, what would you like to see happen?
So you agree with the criticists? You think I'm a selectivist? No. No, I mean, social media is for everybody if they want to. Improvements, that's the thing. I don't completely. It can be one side of social media, people feeling less guilty, just liking, but again, the same thing is happening offline as well. Some people just feel less guilty using, I don't know, less plastic, or you can perform really small actions and feel less guilty also offline. That's what I'm saying. So it's not necessarily just about social media. It's about people in the end. Improvements, I don't know, because I think the real improvement is inside people. When it comes to social media, and that's starting to happen, to go back putting a bit more filters, what they were called gatekeepers. Now everybody can share anything online with no filters. To to put a filter on that, and but it's starting to happen. So I trust the future in that way.
So I'm going to ask one final question, because I think that those listening to your last statement are going to ask this question, and that's part of criticism. I'm sure you've heard this already. Filters have been considered a limitation of freedom of expression. So for those who are wondering, okay, there's a filter, but why? What is the good side of the filter? Aside from, of course, the fact that you stop from fake news or content that it's not pleasant, in the sense like you're abusing someone else's privacy in that sense. But in your opinion, why aside from what you said, so filters are good, okay, now why?
This is a very delicate question. I'm, pro freedom of speech and any kind of freedom, of course. But I also think sometimes it's used as an excuse to do, whatever you want. I believe in checks and balances. And sometimes online, I don't feel the check and balances systems is working anymore. Very often it's very, how can I say, unbalanced, the kind of communication which is happening there. And if your intentions are not very good, it can be used as a weapon. So filters in that way, deontology and all that, it should be applied also when it comes to online communication.
I thought that was the last question, but it isn't, because I just came up with another one. And I swear this is the last one. But it has to do with climate deniers. So climate deniers support the idea that social media is a platform for them also to share their conversation about the fact that science may not be exactly correct about, what's happening. And although science, of course, we all know, agrees and everything, we've known for a while, that's said and done and shared. So what would you tell climate deniers when we tell them, okay, maybe something they could be saying may be incorrect? That's a form of filter, because you're stopping them from sharing an information that they feel like it's a freedom of expression, but we know it could be incorrect again. So what would you tell this part of the community?
It's a topic I'm very interested in, not just about climate deniers, but this, I wouldn't say new kind of communication, because it's not new, and it's not a new way of seeing reality. It's just how it's expressed, which has changed and is very connected to the online world with its speed and way of working. What would I say to climate deniers? How? I don't know. The thing is, some kind of criticism I could have about communicators is they're a bit too much obsessed with somehow old concepts of truth, of communication itself, of facts. It's not working that way anymore. It's a lot more about effective narratives. And so I think that's the key. I don't believe in. Well, I do believe in debunking, if properly made. But I believe more in fighting bad narratives with better narratives. It's about your today more than ever. It's about your storytelling. So I wouldn't say something to climate deniers, but to the other side. Don't be too obsessed with proving your truth with facts. This obsession with facts and truth. I share your views, but I don't think it's the more effective way to fight our fights. So to concentrate on effective and strong and powerful storytelling more than on proving your truth.
I think this is a perfect ending with the call to action. So for activists listening, for our listeners in general, you want to share your story. Personal stories, as you said, are more effective. Reason why we're here, we each have our own, and I think proves the point maybe stronger than science and facts or just proving our point. I may say it was interesting the way you flipped my question. You spoke to us rather than the climate deniers. Good way. I liked it. So thank you very much for being with us today, Umberto.
Thank you, Angela.
For those listening, thank you very much. You can find our episodes on YouTube channel. Please subscribe. I'm going to leave some information down in the description box. You can find us on social media, so Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Bye.